I could say Atlantis, Myth, story, did the lonely bring her a place in history's glory. The waters rose as spirits sang.
Later on today, we're going to go to a thrift store run by or owned by Crossroads Fellowship, where Doug is pastor. We're going to see something that is something that you never thought of doing years ago. How many years have you been doing pastoral work the way we're talking about it, in a transformative way? And of course, we're talking about, you're still learning this stuff, but how long have you been doing that, and how long did you do it in whatever way you want to describe that, a stupid way or blind or what? I mean, you were 35, you were 30, you were 25, you were 20, and you probably knew everything back then.
Oh yeah, I knew a lot more when I was younger. I knew it all for sure. I thought I did. I've been pastoring 38 years. I started my junior year in college, 1978, and with a little interruption here and there, I've still part-time or pretty much full-time been in ministry all that time. Since my heart attack in 2007, that changed everything for me. And how I got to that condition is another story, but something had to change. And a number of, thankfully, streams of God was sending my way wonderfully conspired to help me discover this transformative thinking and living. And that word has been the one that sort of brought it all together, because I realized I am not living the kind of life I know I want to and that I need to. And I'm getting stuff done, but it's probably a lot of wood, stubble, and hay. It's a lot of it in the flesh. It's well-intended. It's well-meaning. It's doing the right stuff. Hungry people are getting food because of my work. People in jail are getting encouraged and visited. Good things were happening.
And were people saying nice things about you?
Oh, yeah, people said nice things about me. But also honest people said disturbing things to me. Because we're in an elder system, and I have elders, and I'm my senior pastor, many of whom were pleading with me to really take a look at stuff, and I'd brush it off, I'd justify it, or I'd take a while, but
They were showing leadership, and you were supposed to be the leader. You were supposed to be the big bad dude.
Well, because of the love we have for being healthy, we had people trying to speak health into us. And, I would say before my heart attack, people could love me and hate me at the same time. And I wouldn't blame them. And hey, a lot of great pastors are like that. It's like, boy, there's things I just love about this guy, and then there's times they just wear me out. This is so unsustainable and crazy. And so, anyway, for me, it was, my heart attack was the opportunity. And I have to thank my elders for giving me this space. They didn't give me an option. You're going to take 30 days and think about it. 90 days, actually, 3 months. I did 3 months of rehab. And I had an assignment. Probably need to rethink how you're living and how you're leading. That was the freedom and the support to have the time, but the responsibility, don't waste it. This is a moment God's giving you, and we sense it, and we want you to sense it, and that's your assignment. And even my cardiologist said, what are you doing wrong? 49-year-old mission pastor shouldn't be having heart attacks. You're not living right. And he gave me some books to read. The right kind of books came to me. We can list those some other place, but it's all led to a transformative. It's transformed me. I think my closest colleagues would tell you that. The fruit of my ministry in the last 7 years is way better and different than the first 30. And I think there's a lot less of me and there's a lot more of God. I'm actually in behind the scenes. A lot of stuff is happening because I don't have to say everything, talk everything, tell everybody everything I'm thinking, be a know-it-all, be out in front. I'm not. A lot of things that were perfectionism, workaholism, ego needs that were being met through the ministry are being met different ways. So they've been drained out of my ministry. I hope, for the most part, I hope God keeps draining it out. And that's made room for the Spirit of God and others and colleagues to come and fill that space. And more powerful stuff has happened.
And this is surrounding yourself with a brain trust. I mean, it involves this to a huge extent, right?
Yeah.
Explain. And in light of what we're going to see about this thrift store as one example.
Yeah.
Tell them.
Yeah, the thrift store is a great example. Let me answer your colleague question because that's really important. Often, we have a choice. We have the system, and we can go with the flow or not. And then we're either in competition with other people if we think, that it's the guy with the most toys or the most stripes or the most whatever. It's the pecking order. Business people do it, athletes do it. I mean, we're a competitive world. That there's a healthy competitiveness, and the ministry can get unhealthy, even on a staff. Or it can be complementary and collegial. To me, collegiality is, I don't have to be you, you don't have to be me, and we have the privilege of going on this journey together. So you're going to grow, I'm going to grow, we're going to shape each other, influence each other, other people are going to shape us. We're on a journey, and I mean, that whole language, 10 years ago, you taught me that process journey. It's like, oh, yeah, I'm one more of those guys. I probably didn't get anything done. Honestly, you have prejudices built up from this unhealthy thinking and pastoral persona we can sometimes cultivate. But when you get transformed out of that and get validated for who God's made you, who He wants you to be, why He's put you in the ministry, I do feel called to do this, but that doesn't mean because I'm called, I should be sent or appointed. And often our systems, we appoint people. The system's so infected with the disease, it'll appoint people with the disease. In fact, it wants people with the disease because that's our ecosystem. Versus what I have in this independent church, by the grace of God, a healthy leadership core. That essentially there's enough healthiness there that we will infect the unhealthy or we will remove them like a virus. And so people who've come and gone, elders or pastors or lay leaders, they are encouraged and given an opportunity to get healthy, or they eventually leave on their own, or we ask them to leave, which is a necessary thing if you want to keep a healthy ecosystem that is your model and your value.
Okay, so you can have the kind of non-collegiality that's like a poison and it isn't going to do anything but, you're going to have a lot of competition, especially it's like the Saul-David thing. King Saul didn't like the attention David was getting.
Yeah, and a good example. And
along with this, I want you to keep this theme going and how that affects a person's willingness and therefore ability to build this brain trust around them.
Yeah. I'll come. That's a good. Thanks for drawing it back to that. A couple things here. One is, if we're really competitive, even though we're outwardly being polite and kind, but then we got this little checklist and we're evaluating. That's a competitive mindset. If you become a true colleague, when something good happens, you go, "Oh, thank God, that is great." I really get excited when my colleagues have breakthroughs, when God blesses them and they're used wonderfully. That's the telltale. Can you really be grateful and excited when your colleagues are being blessed and doing stuff you can't do and may never get to do? That's the acid test. If you're truly excited about it, you're in the right direction. If you're sitting thinking, what about my part in that? He didn't mention me, and he didn't give me credit for what I told him 3 years ago when I was having coffee with him. You're still on the wrong path there. So honestly enjoying other people's growth and prosperity.
There you go.
I have to tell you, I've spent too much of my life quietly, smiling outwardly and quietly going, why isn't that me? Or how did he, when I can truly enjoy that, you will attract a brain trust to you because like attracts like. So if you're competitive, you're going to get around a bunch of competitors and you'll get a lot of stuff done. It may not last. If you want a brain trust, what that is a recognition that, hey, I need help. You're an elder, you're an engineer, you're a nurse, you manage a lot of people. All of a sudden, the people in my brain trust are godly people with expertise that I don't have, and we have a responsibility for a lot of people. So I need a dozen people. My first line of, hey, the Lord's been laying this on my heart. What do you all think? I haven't decided. It's a collegial decision, so let's decide together.
Yeah, look at the difference here. We're not talking about what usually happens where somebody decides what we're going to do, and then now the idea is to fill all those posts. This is not that. This is a transformed way of thinking where these people help you decide whether you should even be doing that. I don't care if you're the senior pastor or you're the head of that pastoral department.
Well, it's sort of inductive or deductive in a pastoral system where we're supposed to know it all and everyone expects us to. It's like, hey, I'm an engineer. I don't want to know all this stuff. Come and tell me, Pastor, and I'll just salute and put money in the plate. So this conspiracy goes both ways. It's lays as well as pastors. Yeah. But what that means is I'm supposed to get it from the bishop, the superintendent, wherever, and I announce it, and everyone says, okay. And we do it. And God may use it in spite of us. I'm not saying God doesn't do this. Look at
it's true.
But if you want to compare systems, and that's what church ecclesiology really is, comparing one system to another on biblical principles, when you know what's deductive is what's true that God's given us, but inductively is what's the soil He's put us into. Am I in Galilee or Corinth? Am I in Rome or am I in Asia? That does matter. Soil matters. And so the soil and the character of our culture and people, I think we used the word broker before, brokering between what is eternal and true that we can distill that's pan-historical. It covers all of history. It's true for everybody regardless of age, culture, ethnicity. That's really what we should be learning about Scripture. And then we should be studying our context and trying to broker how do we get that in here. And that's a community discussion, at least at a brain trust. And then hopefully if we do well, we take it to our flock and they go, wow, well, yeah, let's try that. And at least there's buy-in to, and that's where we're trying. We don't always succeed. We have wonderful failures, which lead to our real breakthrough successes.